Welcome to the Shore Family Firehouse stage. I'm Naima Krajan, CEO of Goodwill Theater, Inc. We are very excited to present Spoon River, a song cycle, composed by local jazz pianist Douglas A. Beardsley. In 1972, Doug picked up the book Spoon River Anthology by Edgar Lee Masters. Doug's enduring fascination with this book of 244 poems about the deceased residents of a fictional town has brought us all here today. You will hear almost 50 of those poems sung by 19 local singers. Doug's music is highly original and not easily categorized into any one genre. Personally, I find it mesmerizing. When Spoon River Anthology was published in 1915, it was controversial due to its honest and often dark content. Many of you may know it as the inspiration for the popular play Our Town. Special thanks to IBM, the National Endowment for the Arts, Broome County Arts Council, the Binghamton Rotary, and Seed Financial Planning Group, and to Laura Cunningham for bringing this project to our attention. The Spoon River poems are a collection of stories about a community, and it is appropriate that this presentation is composed, conceived, produced, and performed by members of our community. One that has found a way to come together against all pandemic odds to create, collaborate, and share stories from over 100 years ago. Stories that are, in many ways, just as familiar now as they were then.
Where are Elmer, Herman, Bert, Tom, and Charlie? The weak of will, the strong of arm, the clown, the boozer, the fighter. All are sleeping on the hill. One passed in a fever, one was burned in a mine, one was killed in a brawl, one died in a jail, one fell from a bridge, toiling for children and wife. All are sleeping, sleeping, sleeping on the hill.
Here I lie close to the grave of old Bill Pearsall, who grew rich trading with the Indians and who afterwards took the bankrupt law and emerged from it richer than ever. Myself grown tired of toil and poverty, and beholding how old Bill and others grew in wealth, robbed a traveler one night near Proctor's Grove, killing him unwittingly while doing so. For the crime I was tried and hanged. That was my way of going into bankruptcy. Now we who took the bankrupt law in our respective ways sleep peacefully side by side.
Have you seen walking
days went by like shadows, the minutes wheeled like stars. She took the pity from my heart and made it into smiles. She was a hunk of sculptor's clay. My secret thoughts were fingers. They flew behind her pensive brow and lined it deep with pain. They set the lips and sagged the cheeks and drooped the eyes with sorrow. My soul had entered in that clay, fighting like 7 devils. It was not mine, it was not hers. She had it, but the struggles molded a face she hated and a face I feared to see. I beat the windows, shook the bolts, I hid me in a corner, and then she died and hunted me for life.
If a man could bite the giant's hand that catches and destroys him, as I was bitten by a rat while demonstrating my patent trap in my hardware store that day. But a man can never avenge himself on the monstrous ogre life. You enter the room that's being born, and then you must live. Work out your soul. Aha, the fate that you crave is in view, a woman with money. You want to marry, prestige, place, or power in the world, but there's work to do and things to conquer. Oh yes, the wise that screen the bait. At last you get in, but you hear a step. The ogre life comes into the room. He was waiting and heard the clang of the spring to watch you nibble the wondrous cheese and stare with his burning eyes at you and scowl and laugh and mock and curse you, running up and down in the trap until your misery bores him.
They have chiseled on my stone the words. His life was gentle, and the elements so mixed in him that nature might stand up and say to all the world, this was a man. Those who know me smile as they read this empty rhetoric. My epitaph should have been, life was not gentle to him, and the elements so mixed in him that he made warfare a life in the which he was slain. While I lived, I could not cope with slanderous tongues. Now that I am
written by a fool.
My life's blossom might have bloomed on all sides, save for a bitter wind which stunted my petals. On the side of me which you in the village could see, from the dust I lift a voice of protest. My flowering side you never saw. Ye living ones, ye are fools indeed who do not know the ways of the wind and the unseen forces that govern the processes of life. Henry got me with child, knowing that I could not bring forth life without losing my own. In my youth, therefore, I entered the portals of dust. Traveler, it is believed, in the village where I lived, that Henry loved me with a husband's love, but I proclaim from the dust that he slew me to gratify his hatred. You praise my self-sacrifice, Spoon River, in rearing Irene and the merry orphans of my older sister. But you censure Irene and Mary for their contempt of me, but praise not my self-sacrifice, and censure not their contempt. I reared them, I cared for them true enough, but I poisoned my benefactions with constant reminders of their dependence.
In life, I was the town drunkard. When I died, the priest denied me burial in holy ground. The witch rebounded to my good fortune, for the Protestants bought this lot and buried my body here close to the grave of
Spoon River when Chase Henry voted against the saloons to avenge himself for being cut off. But none of you was keen enough to follow my steps or trace me home as Chase's spiritual brother. Do you remember when I fought the bank and the courthouse ring for pocketing the interest on public funds? And when I fought the leading citizens for making the poor the pack horses of the taxes? And when I fought the waterworks for stealing streets and raising rates? And when I fought the businessmen who fought me in these fights? Do you remember? The staggering up from the wreck of defeat and the wreck of a ruined career. I slipped from my cloak, my last ideal, hidden from all eyes. Until then, like the cherished jawbone of an ass, and smote the banks and the waterworks and the businessmen with prohibition, and made Spoon River pay the cost of the fight that I had lost.
How does it happen? Tell me that I, who was most erudite of lawyers, who knew Blackstone and Coke almost by heart, who made the greatest speech the court has ever heard, and wrote a brief that wrung the praise of Justice Breeze. How does it happen? Tell me that I lie here unmarked and forgotten, while Chase Henry, the town drunkard, has a marble clock topped by an urn, wherein nature, in a mood ironical, has sown a flowering weed.
Your attention, Thomas Rhodes, president of the bank. Coolbow Whedon, editor of the Argus. Rev
Together in this grave lie Benjamin Pantier, attorney at law, and Nick, his dog, constant companion, solace and friend, passing one by one out of life, left me till I was alone with Nick for partner, bedfellow, comrade in drink. In the morning of life I knew aspiration and glory. Then she who survives me snared my soul with a snare which bled me to death, till I, once strong of will, lay broken, indifferent, living with Nick in a room back of a dingy office. Under my jawbone is snuggled the bony nose of Nick. Our story is left in silence. Goodbye, mad world!
He told that I snared his soul with a snare that bled him to death. And all the men loved him, and most of the women pitied him. But suppose you are really a lady, and have delicate taste, and loathe the smell of whiskey and onions, and the rhythm of Woodworth's ode runs in your ears. Well, he goes about from morning till night, repeating bits of that common thing. Oh, why should the spirit of mortals be proud? And then suppose you are a woman well endowed, and the only man with whom the law and morality permit you to have the marital relation is the very man that fills you with disgust. Every time you think of him, well, you think of it every time you see him. That's why I drove him away from home to live with his dog in a dingy room back of his office.
Well, Emily Sparks, your prayers were not wasted. Your love was not all in vain. I owe whatever I was in life to your hope that would not give me up, to your love that saw me still as good. soul was 3,000 miles away in the days when you taught me in Spoon River. And just because you no more could love me, nor pray for me, nor write me letters, the eternal silence of you spoke instead. And the black-eyed Cosette took the tears for her, as well as the deceiving kisses I gave her. Somehow from that hour I had a new vision. Dear Emily Sparks,
The spirits beat up on mine like the wings of 1,000 butterflies. I closed my eyes and felt their spirits vibrating. I closed my eyes, yet I know when their lashes fringe their cheeks from downcast eyes, and when they turned their heads, or when their garments clung to them, or fell from them in exquisite draperies. Their spirits warm my ecstasy with white looks of starry unconcern. Their spirits look upon my tortures. They drink it as it was the water of life. With red on cheeks, brightened eyes, the rising fumes of my soul made their spirits gilt like the wings of a butterfly drifting suddenly in its sunlight. They cried to me for life, life, life. But in taking life for myself, in seizing and crushing their souls, as a child crushes grapes and drinks from its palms the purple juice, I came to this wingless void where neither red nor gold nor wine nor the rhythm of life is known.
You would not believe me, would you, that I came from Goodwill stock, that I was purer-blooded than the white trash here, and of more direct lineage than the New Englanders and Virginians of Spoon River. You would not believe that I had been to school and read some books. You saw me only as a worn-out man with matted hair and beard and and ragged clothes. Sometimes a man's life turns into a cancer from being bruised and continually bruised, and swells into a purplish mass like the growths on stalks of corn. Here was I, a carpenter, mired in a bog of life, into which I walked, thinking it was a meadow, with a slattern for a wife, and poor Minerva, my daughter, whom you tormented and drove to death. So I crept through the days of my life. No more you hear my footsteps in the morning, resounding on the hollow sidewalk, going to the grocery store for a little cornmeal and a nickel's worth of bacon.
No other man, unless it was Doc Hill, did more for the people in this town than I. And all the weak, the halt, the improvident, and those who could not pay flocked to me. I was good-hearted, easy Dr. Myers. I was healthy, happy, in comfortable fortune, blessed with a congeal mate. My children raised, already doing well in the world. And then one night, Minerva, the poetress, came to me in her trouble, crying. I tried to help her out. She died, they indicted me. The newspaper disgraced me. My wife perished of a broken heart, and pneumonia finished me.
tank in the yard with gasoline that fed the bonfires in the sheds that hold the iron, and I mounted a rickety ladder to do it, carrying buckets full of the stuff. One morning as I stood there pouring, the air grew still and seemed to heave, and I shot up as the tank exploded, and down I came with both legs broken, and my eyes burned crisp like a couple of eggs, for someone left the blowfires going, and something sucked the flame in the tank. The circuit judge said whoever did it was a fellow servant of mine, and so old Roadson didn't have to pay me. And as I sat on the witness stand, as blind as Jack the Fiddler, saying over and over, I didn't know him at all.
Where are Uncle Isaac and Aunt Emily and old Townie Kincaid and Savinor Houghton and Major Walker, who had talked with venerable men of the Revolution? All are sleeping on the hill. They brought them dead sons from the war and daughters whom life had crushed, and the children fatherless crying. All are sleeping, sleeping, sleeping on the hill.
I was the first fruit of the battle of Missionary Ridge. When I felt the bullet enter my heart, I wished I had stayed at home and gone to jail for stealing the hogs of Curdranary instead of running away and joining the army
the end at 25. My tongue could not speak what stirred within me, and the village thought me a fool. Yet at the start there was a clear vision, a high and urgent purpose in my soul, which drove me on, trying to memorize the Encyclopedia Britannica.
Do the boys and girls still go to Seavers for cider after school in late September? To gather hazelnuts among the thickets an Erin had fields farm when the frost began. For many times with the laughing boys and girls played I along the road and over the hills when the sun was low and the air was cool, stopping to club the walnut tree, standing leafless against a flaming west. Now the smell of the autumn smoke and the dropping acorns and the echoes about the vales bring dreams of life. They hover over me, they question me. Where are those laughing comrades? How many are with me? How many in the old orchards along the way to Seavers and in the woods that overlook the quiet water? Not in the wasted garden where bodies are drawn into grass that feeds no flocks and into evergreens that bear no fruit. There where along the shaded walks vain sighs are heard and vainer dreams are dreamed of close communion with departed souls. But here under the apple tree I loved and proved with gnarled hand in the long, long years. Here under the roots of this northern spire to move in the chemic change and circle of life into the soil and into the flesh of the tree and into the living epitaph of River apples.
I went up and down the streets, here and there by day and night, through all
of the night, caring for the poor who were sick. Do you know why? My wife hated me, my son went to the dogs, and I turned to the people and poured out my life to them. Sweet it was to see the crowds about the lawns on the day of the funeral and hear them murmur their love and sorrow. But oh dear God, my soul trembled, scarcely able to hold to the railing of the new life when I saw him standing behind the oak tree at the grave, hiding herself and her grief.
In my Spanish cloak and old slouch hat and overshoes of felt, and Tyke, my faithful dog, and my knotted hickory cane, I slipped about with a bullseye lantern from door to door on the square as the midnight stars wheeled round and the bell in the steeple murmured from the blowing of the wind, and the weary steps of old Dock Hill sounded like one who walks in sleep, and a far-off rooster crew, and now another is watching Spoon River as others have watched before me, and here we lie, Dock Hill and I, where one breaks through and steals, and no eye needs to guard.
Glory sweep not, I am not here under this pine tree. The balmy air of spring whisper through the sweet grass, the stars sparkle, the whippoorwill calls. But thou grievest while my soul lies rapturous in the best nirvana of eternal light. Go to the good heart who is my husband, who broods upon what he calls our guilty love. Tell him that my love for you, no less than my love for him, wrought out my destiny, that through the flesh I was spirit, and through spirit peace. There is no marriage in heaven, but there is love.
My father, who owned the wagon shop and grew rich selling horses, sent me to the University of Montreal. I learned nothing and returned home roaming hunting quail and snipe. At Thompson's Lake, the trigger of my gun caught on the side of the boat, and a great hole was shot through my heart. Over me, a fond father erected this marble shaft, on which stands the figure of a woman carved by an Italian artist. They say the ashes of my namesake were scattered near the pyramid of Caius Chestus, somewhere in Rome.
From Brindle's Opera House in the Village to Broadway is a great step, but I tried to take it, my ambition fired, when 16 years of age, seeing his line played here in the Village by Ralph Barrett, the coming romantic actor, who entranced my soul. True, I trailed back home a broken failure when Ralph disappeared in New York, leaving me alone in the city. But life broke him also. In all this place of silence, there are no kindred spirits. How I wish to say could stand amid the pathos of these quiet fields and read these words. We quarreled that morning, for he was 65 and I was 30, and I was nervous and heavy with child, whose birth I dreaded. I thought over the last letter written me by that stranger soul, whose betrayal of me I had concealed by marrying the old man. Then I took morphine and sat down to read across the blackness that came over my eyes. I see the flickering light of these words even now. And Jesus said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, today thou shalt be with me in paradise.
did you ever find out which one of the O'Brien boys it was who snapped the toy pistol against my hand? There where the flags were red and white in the breeze, and Bucky Astor was firing the cannon brought to Spoon River from Vicksburg by Captain Harris, and the lemonade stands were running, and the band was playing to have it all spoiled by a cap shot under the skin of my hand, and the boys all crowding around me, saying, "You'll die of lockjaw, Charlie Shore." Oh dear, oh dear, what chum of mine could have done it?
I was 16, and I had the most terrible dreams, and specks before my eyes, and nervous weakness, and I couldn't remember the book I read, like Frank Drummer, who memorized page after page, and my back was weak, and I worried, and I was embarrassed and stammered my lessons, and when I stood up to recite, I'd forget everything that I had studied. Well, I saw Dr. Weezy's advertisement, and there I read everything in print, just as if he had known me, and about the dreams which I couldn't help. So I knew I was marked for an early grave, and I worried until I had a cough, and then the dream stopped, and then I slept the sleep without dreams here on the hill by the river.
As a boy, Theodore, you sat for long hours on the shore of the turbid Spoon, with deep-set eyes staring at the door of the crayfish's burrow, waiting for him to appear, pushing ahead. First, his waving antenna like straws of hay, and so his body colored like soapstone, gemmed with eyes of jade.
the prohibitionists made me town marshal, when the saloons were voted out. Because when I was a drinking man before I joined the church, I killed a Swede at the sawmill near Maple Groves, and they wanted a terrible man. Grim, righteous, strong, courageous, and a hater of saloons and drinkers, to keep law and order in the village. And they presented me with a loaded cane with which I struck Jack McGuire before he drew the gun with which he killed me. The prohibitionists spent their money in vain to hang him. For in a dream I appeared to one of the 12 jurymen and told him the whole secret story. 14 years were enough for shooting me.
Been secretly hurried away to the jail in Peoria, and yet I was going peacefully home, carrying my jug a little drunk, when Logan the marshal halted me, called me a drunken hound and shook me, and when I cursed him for it, struck me with that prohibition cane. All this before I shot him. They would have hanged me except for this. My lawyer Kinsey Keene was helping to lend old Thomas Rhodes for wrecking the bank, and the judge was a friend of Rhodes and wanted him to escape. And Kinsey offered to quit on Rhodes for 14 years for me, and the offer was made. I served my time and learned to read and write.
I was not beloved of the villagers, but all because I spoke my mind and met those who transgressed against me with plain remonstrance, hiding nor nurturing nor secret griefs nor grudges. That act of the Spartan boy is greatly praised, who had the wolf under his cloak, letting it devour him uncomplainingly. It is braver, I think, to snatch the wolf forth and fight him openly, even in the street, amid dust and howls of pain. The tongue may be an unruly member, but silence poisons the soul. Berate me who will, I am content.
drowned in bitterness of soul. Oh, glorious Republic, no more. When they buried my soldier son to the call of the trumpets and the sound of drums, my heart broke beneath the weight of 80 years, and I cried, oh son who died in a cause unjust, in the strife of freedom slain, and I crept here under the grass, and now from the battlements of time, behold, Christ, 30 million souls being bound together in the love of larger truth, wrapped in the expectation of a birth of a new beauty, sprung from brotherhood and wisdom. I with eyes of spirit see the transfiguration before you see it. But ye infinite brood of golden eagles, nesting ever higher, wheeling ever higher, the sunlight wooing of lofty places of thought, forgive the blindness of the departed owl.
I leaned against the mantle, sick, thinking of my failure, looking into the abysm, weak from the noonday heat. A church bell sounded mournfully far away. I heard the cry of a baby and the coughing of John Yardell. Bedridden, feverish dying. Then the violent voice of my wife, watch out, the potatoes are burning. I smell them. Then there was irresistible disgust. I pulled the trigger. Blackness. Night unspeakable regret. Fumbling for the word again to leave. Thus I came there with wings for breathing. One cannot breathe there with lungs, though one must breathe. Of what use is it to rid oneself of the world, when no soul may ever escape the eternal destiny of life?
child, dead with my death, not knowing breath, though you tried so hard, with a heart that beat when you lived with me, and starved when you left me for life. It is well, my child, for you never traveled the long, long way that begins with school days, when little fingers blur under the tears that fall on the crooked letters, and the earliest wound when a little maid leaves you alone for another, and sickness, and the face of fear by the bed. The death of a father or mother, or shame for them, or poverty, the maiden sorrow of school days ended, and eyeless nature that makes you drink from the cup of love, though you know it's poisoned. To whom would your flower face have been lifted? Botanist, weakling, cry of what blood is yours, pure or foul, for it makes no matter. It's blood that calls to our blood, and then your children. Oh, what might that be, and what your sorrows? Child, child, death is better than life. We stand about this place, we the memories, and shade our eyes because we dare to read June 17th, 1884, and 21 years and 3 days, and all things are changed, and we the memories, stand here for ourselves alone, for no eye marks us, or would know why we are here. Your husband is dead, your sister lives far away, your father is bent with age, he has forgotten you, he scarcely leaves the house anymore. No one remembers your exquisite face, your lyric voice, how you sang, even on the morning you were stricken with piercing sweetness, with thrilling sorrow, before the advent of the child that died with you. It's all forgotten, save by us, the memories who are forgotten by the world. All
You walked ashore in thought, where the throats of the waves were like whippoorwills singing beneath the water and crying to the walk of the wind.